Hello fellow data friends. You can transform the United States into a caring, loving overlord when you are playing the Indian territories. I was testing ideas for a good American territory starting strategy when my liberty desire fell below 10 and even hit 0. Since the United States get a claim on Oklahoma, I was really worried about getting annexed. But they just didn't. I suspected the protective attitude to be the root cause for this, so I started investigating. At first, I was doing some tests in case I was just lucky. I started a new game, did the usual things to increase liberty desire, which in turn lower relations. Then I let time pass. The first time I was annexed in 1854. Then in 1853, and the third time was a lot earlier in 1840. So when I anger the US, I'm always getting annexed sooner or later. So this time, I started as Indian territory and increased relations with the United States. Then I waited. The first time, I stopped in 1900. I was still alive. The second time, during an overnight run, I survived until the end of the game in 1936. So the US did not act on their claim to Oklahoma. But a protective stance alone is not enough. In one test game, the US was protective, and then the claim turned them aggressive and I got annexed. To annex a subject, the Overlord has to start an annexation deploy play. The most important file here is the 00 default strategy. The annexation war goal starts with a value of 0. If the AI has a secret goal to conquer the other country, or has the antagonistic attitude, then the annexation war goal gets score based on the relative GDP and number of states. Then there's some more score if the country is in some unification areas or some journal entry areas. Neither is the case for the Indian territories. So if you can avoid the antagonistic attitude or the secret conquer goal, then the US has 0 score to annex us. An overlord cannot be antagonistic, only domineering. So we just have to change the secret goal. In-game, the secret goal is called strategic desire. The US starts with a strategic desire to conquer us, and that is due to our historic relations. We need to change that. We will take a closer look at 3 secret goals: Conquer, Befriend, Protect. Conquer has 0 base points. If a country has a claim on any state, plus 200 points. And then there are a lot of score points for journal entry, unifications including Ethiopia and Balkan Wars, and independent unrecognized countries. Then the score gets multiplied based on ideological opinion, lobbies, and power block membership. Befriend has 200 base points. Countries are more likely to befriend countries of higher rank. Then there is a lot of journal entry influence. Then everything gets multiplied based on ideological opinion, lobbies, power block memberships, and infamy. Protect is basically the same as Befriend, but limited to subjects and way weaker nations. Keep in mind, there's a secret goal stickiness factor. This likely means that a new secret goal needs twice as much score as the older one during recalculation. So for the Indian territories, we have 2 options. Without a claim, the US will have 0 score for conquering us. In recalculation, before the US gets a claim on Oklahoma, they safely change their strategic desire. Once the US has a claim, we need the US to create a power block, which they usually do within a couple of years. This is actually the easier and likelier option for the Indian territories. But when will there be a recalculation? Well, it needs a diplomatic catalyst and some luck or patience. Diplomatic catalysts can be positive, like an increase in relations, or negative, like a declaration of war. Catalysts usually have a chance to trigger a recalculation, but only in the direction of the diplomatic catalyst. Decreasing relations can only trigger a recalculation for a worse stance, but not a better one. So, in our case, we need to trigger a positive diplomatic catalyst with the US. I will talk about the 3 important ones for our case. The obvious one is increasing relations. It has a base chance of 5% to actually trigger a more friendly recalculation. If you reach cordial relations, it's 10%, and it's 25% for amicable relations, and it's guaranteed for reaching friendly relations. My first thought to force a recalculation for amicable relations was to yo-yo up and down to trigger several catalysts. But Paradox anticipated that because both the catalyst for increasing and decreasing relations belongs to the relations changed category, which has a 1-year cooldown. So it's not possible unless you manage the cooldown perfectly, which is probably not worth it. When you join the same power block, that might also trigger a recalculation with a 10% base rate. It increases by another 10% with the power block leader, which is then again multiplied by relations modifiers. Now this looks like a small bug. The score is multiplied by 4 when the relations are above amicable, but then they are multiplied by 3 when they are above friendly. Should probably be the other way around. Nothing important, but I will make a bug report nonetheless. This catalyst will trigger when the US creates a power block and forces you inside as well, giving you a 60% chance for a recalculation with amicable relations once the bug is fixed. And whenever you are allies in Diploplay, there's a chance for a positive goal recalculation. Since you are a subject, the US will drag you into all wars against other native nations. The base chance is 10% and is modified by relations like the other catalysts. Obviously, all ways are still based on chance. You might need to restart the early years, but that should be only once or twice. Now, this will not solve all the problems to get the American Territories achievement, but it gives you new options. It gives you time. You don't need to be afraid to be annexed within the next 10 years. You can also start a game to play a super tall Indian territories if you want. The US will protect you. So, any plans with your new knowledge? And a special thanks to Sulfi for supporting my channel as Data Capitalist. The support is very much appreciated. Thanks a lot for watching, and I see you on the next one.